Good morning and welcome to On the Spot News right here on Zimbabwe Daily. My name is Grace Kajke. Let's take a look at the news making the headlines. Hospital fees hiked by 1,748%. Teacher's salary can only buy 20 loaves of bread. Zimcode red flags wage erosion. Potras launches revenue monitoring system. ZANU-PF closing opposition's political space. And in sports news, Warriors booted out of another international tournament. And now the main news in details. Government has hiked user fees at public hospitals by 1,748%, prompting analysts to warn of an upsurge in home deaths. New adult and children consultation fees have been pegged at 12 United States dollar and $6 respectively, which are an equivalent of 3,696 and 1,848 in local currency, using the official exchange of $1 at 308. Hospital fees were last increased in January 2020, with adults and children respectively paying $200 and $100 in Zimbabwean dollar at that time. The notice says patients may pay the new fees at the interbank rate, which is currently stands at 325 to $1. Patients were paying almost half in user fees before the latest increase. The new user fee hike will hit most Zimbabweans who have been forced to turn to public hospitals, as the pricing at private health facilities is beyond the reach of many. However, public hospitals have been failing to provide quality services owing of years of underfunding. Analysts say the increase in user fees would worsen the plight of patients battling to access health care due to prohibitive cost. Zimbabwe Nurses Association President Enoch Dongo said many people would die at home because they could not afford on the fees. As bread price continued to soar, public sector employees are now comparing and contrasting their low wages to how many loaves they can actually purchase. A loaf of bread in the country now costs between 600 and 945, way beyond the reach of many workers, a majority of whom take home 35,000 per month. A teacher's payslip revealed that they take home 19,818, excluding the 75 US COVID-19 allowance. The Zimbabwe Coalition on Debt and Development, Zimcode, has called the government to urgently address wage erosion to restore confidence and enhance efficiency in the labor sector. Zimcode comes as high inflation and exchange rate volatilities have affected consumers' buying power in the past 6 months. Most workers in the Zimbabwean dollar and their salaries have been affected by runaway inflation, making their day-to-day lives harder. In the past few years, most Zimbabweans have failed to access basic services like education and healthcare. Several reports have indicated that there has been a marked increase in school dropouts as poverty levels rise. Zimcode has urged the government to provide social safety nets to cushion vulnerable groups, including people with disability and the elderly, children, and women. The Postal and Telecommunications Regulatory Authority of Zimbabwe, POTRAZ, yesterday launched the Telecommunications Traffic Monitoring and Revenue Assurance System, TTMS, to curb financial leakage at mobile services providers. The system, which enables POTRAZ to obtain accurate financial declaration from mobile service providers, was developed through a revenue assurance company called Global Voice Group. Speaking at the launch, Information Communications Technology and Courier Service Minister Jeffan Muswere said the system would also help the authority to deal with disputes on national interconnection should they arise. ZANU-PF party topped human rights violation with 165 cases in April and 193 in May in a development rights group says indicates the ruling party's patient of violence. The figures were released by pressure groups, the Zimbabwe Peace Project, ZPP, in the latest reports. According to the ZPP monitoring reports, there was an escalation of political activity last month as major political parties are now preparing for the 2023 general elections. The patterns of intimidation and harassment, abductions and assaults implicating the ruling party continued unabated. We will cross over to sports news. The Zimbabwe national team has been booted out from another international tournament due to the FIFA ban on the country. The Warriors, who were recently disqualified from the 2023 AFCON qualifiers, will not participate in this year's edition of the COSAFA Cup after the organizers of the regional competition excluded them from the draw. And in other news, former Dynamos and Ngezi Platinum Stars midfielder Barnabas Mushunje, who was now playing in his trade for Northern Region Division 1 side Simba Bora, has died. Mushunje, 24, was involved in a car accident on his way back to Shamva from Mutare when the accident occurred. Following the accident, he was taken to Parirenya Twa Hospital and was pronounced dead around 8 p.m. on Tuesday night. He is survived by his wife and 2 minor children. To end this news bulletin, we will take a look once again at the main headlines. Hospital fees hiked by 1,748%. Teachers' salary can only buy 20 loaves of bread. ZimCord red flag wage erosion. POTRAZ launches revenue monitoring system. ZANU-PF closing opposition political space. And in sports, Warriors booted out for another international tournament. Thank you so much for listening.